Why do leaders and media always seem to thrive when society burns? Why, every time tragedy strikes, do the voices at the top grow louder, more aggressive, more certain, as if chaos itself were their fuel? Because for them, it is. Conflict isn't just a byproduct of politics, it is currency. And those who know how to weaponize it can purchase power, loyalty, and attention with every spark of outrage.
And the people? The people pay the price, always the people.
Some political actors, some influencers, some media conglomerates, they do not fear chaos. They depend on it. They need it. They stoke it. Because nothing drives engagement like anger. Nothing fuels tribal loyalty like a common enemy. Nothing raises money, votes, or clicks like the promise of war against them. That's why the news cycle never calms. That's why every headline feels like an emergency. That's why the volume never lowers. Because peace doesn't sell, calm doesn't trend, unity doesn't go viral, conflict does. Be honest with yourself. When was the last time you saw a calm, nuanced headline at the top of your feed? When was the last time you clicked on a story that didn't promise drama? You didn't, because they didn't show you one. They know you'll scroll past serenity. But outrage, you'll stop, you'll click, you'll share.
And every click is currency, every share is loyalty, every angry comment is engagement.
This is how leaders and media use conflict as leverage. It's not just politics, it's business, it's survival, it's power. Think about targeted attack. When a political figure is attacked, the tragedy should be unifying, a moment of mourning, of shared humanity. But what happens instead? The message of threat is amplified, not just by those crying for justice, but by those eager to harness the outrage. Each side points fingers. Each side claims the blood as proof of their righteousness. And in the echo chamber, the tragedy becomes a weapon. A targeted attack doesn't end a life alone. It multiplies hatred. It feeds the cycle. It gives opportunists the perfect stage to perform on. They don't calm the people. They inflame them. They don't unite the grieving. They divide them. Because division pays. Division cements loyalty. Division makes people desperate for protection. Protection they promise to provide.
Conflict is the leash, fear is the collar, and the people walk themselves.
And this isn't new. History is soaked in it. Leaders who manufacture enemies to justify war. Media outlets that sensationalize every crime to keep eyes glued to screens. Influencers who bait outrage because they know calm explanations never trend. Conflict is the great stage, and they are the actors. But here's the problem. When leaders and media thrive on conflict, they are incentivized to create more of it. Peace becomes a threat to their business model. Unity becomes dangerous to their control. And so the people are kept in a constant state of tension, outrage fatigue, perpetual suspicion. A society too exhausted to rise up, but too triggered to rest. Do you see it now? Do you feel it? How every story is told in us versus them. How every headline pits you against someone else. How every political message demands you pick a side. They don't want you thinking. They want you choosing. They want you fighting.
Because when you're fighting your neighbor, you don't notice the hand in your pocket.
That's the deeper game. Conflict doesn't just distract, it extracts. While people rage at each other online, the contracts are signed in the dark, the deals are made, the wealth is transferred, the freedoms are chipped away. And nobody notices because the circus is loud and the fire is bright. The Stoics understood this danger. Epictetus taught, when we are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. The wisdom is clear. Outrage at others is often the easiest way to avoid seeing the corruption above us. Leaders and media know this. They know if they keep you offended at each other, you'll never unite to hold them accountable. But outrage is seductive. It feels righteous. It feels urgent. It feels good to belong to a tribe against another tribe. And that is why conflict becomes the drug of politics and media. They sell it, we buy it, and society suffers withdrawal every time we try to step away. So what do? How do we resist leaders and media who use conflict as leverage? It starts with awareness. The next time a shocking headline flashes, ask yourself, who benefits if I rage? Who profits if I share this? Who gains if I hate? And who loses? Because it's almost never the people at the top.
It's you, it's your neighbor, it's your children, always the people.
This is the hidden cost of leveraged conflict. It doesn't just polarize us, it passes down. Children grow up in divided homes, divided schools, divided communities. Hatred becomes heritage. Suspicion becomes instinct. And the cycle strengthens for the next generation of leaders and media manipulators to exploit. Conflict is not always evil. Some conflicts are necessary. Some conflicts are just. But conflict is leverage, conflict is currency, that is poison. Because it rewards the worst instincts of power. It rewards leaders not for uniting, but for dividing. It rewards media not for informing, but for inflaming. And until we stop rewarding them, with our clicks, our shares, our outrage, the poison will keep flowing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." If leaders and media thrive on chaos, then the most powerful act of resistance is clarity, calm, refusal to participate in their game. To become ungovernable not through violence but through awareness.
They want your anger, don't give it. They want your division, don't surrender it. They want your fear, don't feed it.
Because conflict may be their leverage, but it doesn't have to be your prison. You have a choice to stop letting them script your emotions, to stop letting them dictate your enemies, to stop letting them harvest your outrage for their profit. Leaders and media will continue to use conflict as leverage. They will not stop. But you can stop being leveraged. You can reclaim your clarity. You can refuse the bait. You can unite with those around you in virtue, even when the world screams division, because their dysfunction thrives only if we allow it. Their chaos spreads only if we amplify it. Their leverage only works if we hand it over. So remember this, some leaders will always choose division. Some media will always choose outrage. But you can always choose awareness. You can always choose clarity. You can always choose to lead yourself when those above you refuse to lead with integrity. Conflict is their weapon, but awareness is your shield. And a people who see clearly are a people who cannot be leveraged. Subscribe, share, and hit that notification for the next episode. Thanks for being here with the Stoic Quotient, where ancient strength meets modern life.